After weeks of wrangling and false starts, Congo's opposition leaders have signed a deal on the New Year's Eve. The deal will require President Joseph Kabila to step down after elections that must happen before the end of 2017. Mediators from the Congo's Catholic Church had been heaping pressure on both sides for weeks to sign an agreement aimed at averting a slide into anarchy and possibly another civil war over Kabila's decision not to step down despite his mandate expiring more than a week ago.
It's not that they postponed the elections. The way they have been behaving during this last term shows that there will not be elections. They've been trying to change the elections, to change the constitution, the article in January. This you heard as well, that people were on the street and were killed. They wanted to change that article so that they could extend his terms. Later on, they start talking about a referendum to get the people say that they want to change, to give the president maybe 3 terms or 4 or whatever. It did not work. And it went like that till the 19th. It's why they are trying just to tell the people, no, we'll do it 1 year later. It's not true. Because when you look at the reasons, they are saying there is no money. If there was no money for 5 years, are you going to have the money in 12 months? No. And it's not true that there is no money. They budgeted millions of dollars, and those money were there in the treasury, the national treasury, and they used it up. And there are documents for that. And the president even said somewhere outside the country that money we used it for something else. So it's just their way of lying to the people. They don't want to organize elections. They want to stay there forever and ever. They know that for more than 10 years, the Congolese diaspora has invested themselves, following from far, helping in any way, because even families there are living because of the children outside. And it has been said that they are sending more than 10%, more than double of the national budget. So we are also following them, informing our people. And anything happening there, people take pictures, people send. So if they do misbehave, the same day, the same hour, the photos goes outside and we make noise. We alert human rights organizations. So they had prepared themselves. Kabila has brought the whole, in Kinshasa was covered with military engines and police, and they had prepared the people. They were saying that they just want to intimidate. Why intimidate? So they knew that they were going to do that, and they did not want it to go out. It's why they gave official instructions to service provider. Just cut. Around midnight on the 18th, cut. Yes, people knew that they were, because this, there are always people everywhere to take these informations out. So it was alerted that they are going to do this. How do we survive? And those who are good in techniques said, oh no, if you dial this, VPN, they call it VPN, you can still have access. So in Kinshasa, people could survive. So they dialed that and they could still communicate, but it was not as easy as before. This is how we could still get those bad images as they were fighting, people fighting with police killing, abducting people. So it has impacted somehow. Government, I don't think they've really got what they wanted. They thought that they will be free to do whatever and nobody would know. People have their contact on the ground. People call, people ask what is happening. Others, they just send you voicemail, they send you SMSs, they send you pictures, And whoever receives spreads. Spreads so that anyone who can use it to help the people can do so. Like if somebody says, oh no, we are seeing in Matete, they just arrived, they are armed. Then we circulate that. Please alert the people in Matete, they must maybe make noise and discourage them. And then we send them to human rights organizations so that they can make noise. But you know what? All these things are not helping. It seems that people are there to count the dead. They are there. You will hear MONUSCO is UN, all the human rights organizations, their reports is just, oh, after this drama, 20 have been killed, 100 have broken legs and this and this. This is what they do, but it's not what we are expecting. Especially when they knew that Kabila is going to kill. Nothing was done to prevent him to kill. How can you say in a democratic country that a son inherits the presidency from his father? How can you say that? From the inception of Congo, we've never been in charge of ourselves. It started as the independent state of Congo, while other countries started as colonies. Why did they do that? Because they found it so rich that they could not entrust it to one nation as a colony. So they said, like it's a no man's land. You know, the space between 2 yards, it does not belong to the one or the other. So this is how Congo started. A no man's land given to a caretaker, the King Leopold II of Belgium, so that every other nations can come and help themselves. This is how it is till today. It's why you always hear Belgium, France, United States. You always hear them. European Union, UN. And later on, he abused. Leopold II abused. He killed up till 10 million people in the rubber business. And then a journalist, like we are doing today, investigated and made noise in Europe. When people realized what he was doing, some people said, no, we cannot let him go on like that. And this is how Congo went from a private property of Leopold II to being a colony of Belgium. Congolese were not part of that process. When the time for independence came, Congolese, like other nations in Africa, they fought, especially with the one you just mentioned here, Patrice Emery Lumumba. They were not happy because the way he was behaving, the way Congolese were following him, they knew that they were going to lose control over Congo. So very quickly, just after his speech on the day of independence, they started organizing themselves to kill him. There is a documentary film on that, where those people who were in that administration that time, they are talking openly how they got instruction from this one, how it came from Belgium, how it came from America, and how they killed him. Gruesome death. They killed him, they cut his body, they put it in sulfuric acid. And there is somebody in Belgium who is still carrying his teeth. And he stood in the parliament and said that he is still carrying Lumumba's teeth. They killed Lumumba, they wanted to control Congo, they brought Mobutu. Mobutu was secretary of Lumumba. So they used him to kill Lumumba and replace him. And they financed Mobutu to kill his people, to make sure that nobody raises his head so that they can continue plundering the country. When Mobutu could no more control the people because opposition parties, they worked hard, people opened their eyes, people rejected Mobutu. Mobutu ran away, hid himself in his village. When they saw that Etienne Tshisekedi and the opposition are going to bring democracy and the state of law in the country, they brought Laurent Desire Kabila. I want to show you why he died the way he died and why the presidency went to his son. That one, they just hired him to give a Congolese face to what they called rebellion. It was not a Congolese rebellion. It was invasion of Congo by Rwanda and Uganda, backed by United States and the United Kingdom. Kabila was just a Congolese face. So he agreed to be the face, but when they got in Congo, he surprised them. He proclaimed himself the president of Congo. So there was no way they could come out and say he's not the president, he's our puppet. They had signed agreement in Lemera. It's called the Lemera Agreement, where Kabila was supposed to be the president, but put a vice president. Himself must be a puppet, and a president from Rwanda should lead the country. He refused to do that. When they saw that he was not putting the vice president, they prepared, they killed him. He was killed, assassinated, shot in his office. Till today, no one knows who killed him. And his son was brought because they made him present that son as his son once he proclaimed himself president. So it was a strategy for them. It's not his son, it is known. It is the son to his friend, one of his friends, who was in the bush with him. He was killed, so he took his wife and the children. You know, in Africa we do that. If your friend died, you take care of the family. He raised that boy with the others. We have pictures of his real family with all his brothers and sisters, and the one that is presented as his twin sister. When you see them growing, you can see that is the big sister. They are not twins. We have his pictures with his father. You can well see that this is his father. He's not a son to Laurent Desire Kabila. But they tricked Laurent Desire Kabila. He had already told the nation that this is my son, who was amongst those we call Kadogo, the boys who came walking from Rwanda to come and take Congo, to hoist Mobutu out. This is how, when they decided to kill him, they brought him and they manipulated the people to say, no, because Congolese cannot agree between them, it's better we put him so that he can unify the people. You don't do that in a democracy. Even if the president dies, you don't just bring his son to replace. The constitution is there. The parliament was supposed to sit and decide. So this is what they did, 2001. So Congolese people, we are peaceful people. The people said, okay, let us agree with that. We will organize the elections and this and this. That was 2001. They left him. They organized elections in 2006. Etienne Tshisekedi wa Mulumba is like Mandela in South Africa. So he knows. So he said no, he's not going to be the presidential candidate. He knows already that they want to proclaim that young man president. So he said he's not going to elections. Then Bemba. Jean-Pierre Bemba is another Congolese who was in the Bush rebellion, who came. And now Congolese said, okay, we have a non-Congolese, we have a Congolese. Even though he also killed us, he has our blood on his hands. But better go with him and drop this Rwandese guy. So people voted for Jean-Pierre Bemba. It was clear that they voted for him. But when they proclaimed the result, it was Kabila. There was riot in Kinshasa. Then Jean-Pierre Bemba was bribed. Because if he had stand his ground, he was going to be the president of Congo. They bribed him. He came.
Any proof that he was?
He spoke. He spoke in a proverbial way. He said, I'll say it in French because everybody knows that. He said it. J'ai accepté l'inacceptable. So he said, I accepted the unacceptable. This is what he said officially. But we know that he was bribed so that he can leave Kabila alone. But they did not thank him. What did they do after that? So that Kabila will really reign in peace, they took him to CPI. He is there till today. For something his soldiers did in the Central Republic, and they did not arrest the president who called him. But him, he is in CPI till today. Lately I heard he's condemned to 7 years. Congolese never decide for their country. So this is what happened in 2006. Again, riot, and then the people said, okay, our constitution says 2 terms. Let us tolerate him. 2011, we will have elections. We'll take him out. 2011, Etienne Tshisekedi said, this time we are going to face this boy. In the diaspora, everywhere in the country, we mobilized ourselves. It was clear that everybody voted for Tshisekedi. I still remember Colette Breckman is a journalist from Belgium, La Libre Belgique. She was in Kinshasa. She was writing on her Facebook. She said, in Kinshasa, every Congolese has turned into election observer. They are there, they are checking everywhere. Even street children are following. They are saying, if Tshisekedi is president, maybe we can go back to school. And everywhere, the old opposition man has an impact. Everywhere it is him.